Hi! So today is the 30th of July 2022, and I am a speaker at a webinar hosted by Zindi Africa. So the name of the webinar title is How to Break through into business intelligence and data science. As you know that I'm a business analyst and I'm transitioning from being a BA to a business intelligence analyst. So I've been studying my BI courses, and I think very soon I'll be a BIA. I'm so happy with this transition, but at this particular moment, I'm also trying to work on why I started as a BA and why I'm transitioning to a BIA. There's going to be speakers from Zindi. So there's Sherlyn, who's an amazing person in data science, and as well as Jabulani. I'll put their profiles here so that you can also see. I'm so excited. So it's 10:23. The webinar starts in like 7 minutes, so I'm just here ready to start. And yeah, so I wore this color because it's the Beyond Absolutely logo color. If you see our YouTube channel, as well as our brand, so I'm also trying to represent the brand with this colored scheme. So I'm doing it at home, and it's a weekend. I'm so worried about the noise, but we'll see what we can do. So catch me. The link for the webinar, unfortunately, like you need to register to be in, but you see this video after. So I'll also put snippets of the recording when I'll be talking about the BA, what I know and everything. So stay tuned. So it's my first speaking gig. I've never been a speaker at any webinar, but then I realized that it's not about like the type of thing that you'll be doing. I always speak. Any meeting with client, the BA has to say something. You have to show capability. You have to make sure the client knows that you know what you're doing, you understand their requirements. So I basically speak for a living, so it's not much of a train smash. I am super excited about this.
All right. Good morning, everyone. Thank you so much for joining in today for our session where we are going to be talking everything data science and everything business analytics and business intelligence. So as we begin, just a few housekeeping rules. If you are not speaking, please do mute your mic. If you have a contribution, please use the raise hand function. And if you have any questions during the session, please feel free to post them in the chat box, and our speakers will respond to those questions as we go through our session or at the end of the session. So our program today, I am going to tell you a bit more about Zindi. Zindi is one of Africa's biggest data science platforms where people can get to work to solve real-world problems using machine learning and artificial intelligence. What we do at Zindi is we believe in connecting data scientists with organizations and a place to learn, hone their skills, and find a job. What we want to do is to transform the African continent and showcase African data science talent to the world. So Zindi is a professional network for anyone and everyone who wants to use data science to solve a problem. It does not matter if you're a student or professional or someone who's just getting into the field. This is a platform where you can get to learn and work on real-world projects so that we can all make the world a better place using the tools that we love the most. So you find that at Zindi, we have multiple programs for different people within the different phases of their career journey. We've got students and early life professionals, as well as people who are transitioning into a career of data science. So you'll find that, for example, during the hackathons that we do, we have had students and early life professionals getting opportunities from most of these competitions that we do. You find that on the screen, I've just put a couple of testimonials from two people who've taken part in hackathons, and where they're saying Zindi has actually helped them within their data science journey to get a lot of new skills and confidence in participating in competitions. So we do encourage everyone to participate in competitions, as well as try the challenges that are on the Zindi platform so that you can improve your skill sets. If you are looking for a career in data, we always say with Zindi, our Zindi community focuses on 3 pillars, which is learning, which is jobs, and which is challenges. You can never be good at something unless, of course, you build your skills and you practice the skills that you have learned. And within the Zindi community and the Zindi platform, we do have beginner level challenges that you can do where you're not competing against anyone, you're not competing against time, but it's a platform where you can get to improve your skills through learning. And you find that once you have learned that skill set, because we do believe that learning without practice is like not learning at all. So once you have learned your skills, you can then use your skills in challenges which are self-paced. And once you're comfortable within the self-paced challenges, then you can always move on to taking part in competitions where you can actually get recognition for that, and competitions where you get to actually help companies solve their data problems with machine learning or with the skills that you would have learned. So with Zindi, we always say, grow your skills with Zindi. Get started with machine learning basics, with artificial intelligence, and dive into data science skills like computer vision and natural language processing. Also test what you've learned on the challenges built with real world data. Follow your custom learning journey and get recognized. So it says coming soon, but if you're on the Zindi platform, you will notice that we have introduced what we call badges. So the more you take part in challenges, the more you solve challenges, you get a badge for doing so well. So we encourage you to sign up on the platform, test your skills, and have projects that you can actually publish on your portfolio. Once you're on the Zindi platform, you can compete against others to gain a practical data science experience and win money. Yes, win money. So what the Zindi platform does is, if an organization comes to Zindi and they've got a particular challenge that they're trying to solve within their organization, but they don't have the right skill set to solve that problem, then they approach Zindi. And then those are the hackathons that we bring to our community to be able to solve those challenges that the company will be facing and have an opportunity to also give that solution to that company and that company to thrive. So at the end of the day, what you're doing is you're connecting with a community of data enthusiasts, and you guys are coming together to build a solution for a challenge, and you also get to build your professional profile while at it. Another great thing about the Zindi platform is you can get a job in data. Once you've finished building this different project and you have solved a real world problem, you do get recognized by companies. You also do get recognized by Zindi, and you get evaluated and meshed and shortlisted as well for different opportunities with different companies. A lot of people do always ask, am I able to get an internship or a job opportunity if I'm on the Zindi platform or if I take part in competitions? And the answer to that is yes. Once your Zindi activity, we can see that you've gotten a ton of badges, you've been participating in a lot of challenges, hackathons, and competitions. We do recognize that at Zindi, and we do actually help our participants to get matched with a job opportunity. So our Zindi platform is in over 42 African countries now. We have held over 277 competitions and hackathons. We have a platform with more than 35,000 data scientists all over the world. And we are seeing a greater uptake of the platform by women at the moment. We have just over 26% women on the platform, and that number is continuously increasing. So if you're a woman, we do encourage you to take part in the hackathons and the platforms. And because Zindi is also all inclusive, we encourage everyone of every gender to take part in this platform and see how far you can go within your data science journey. So if you are interested in becoming a change maker, do sign up on the Zindi platform. This is the link that you can use to sign up on the Zindi platform and get yourself started in your data science journey. And with that being said, that is the introduction to the Zindi platform. If you do have any questions, feel free to ask your questions within the chat box, and we are about to start our session today. All right. So once again, welcome everyone. Welcome to our session. Today we are discussing how to break through into business intelligence and data science. We do understand that a lot of times people do not have a starting point. People are confused on where to start. So today we've brought two speakers to the platform to give us an insight on what they do on their day-to-day jobs as a business intelligence analyst and as a data scientist. And they're going to share with us their journey, how they got started into the field. And we're going to be asking them any other questions that you might have. So feel free to post those questions in the chat box as we get started with our conversation. For our speakers today, one of our speakers today is Sandra Husiku. Ms. Sandra Husiku is an ICT business analyst with over 5 years in the industry. She is a techpreneur, she is a consultant, and she is an entrepreneur. Ms. Sandra Husiku is a very passionate business analyst. She is always ready to use her tools to solve any challenges that any business might have. And we will get to listen to her more today as we engage with her. Our second speaker for the day will be Mr. Jabulani Chibaya. He is a big data engineer, and he is also a software engineer who has experience with multiple platforms, as he is going to expurgate on the different platforms, tools, and languages that he uses. And he is also a data science consultant. He advises organizations on how best they can adopt and use the data that they have within their organization. So without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, I will ask our panelists to introduce themselves, and I will ask Ms. Sandra Husiku to unmute her mic and give us a brief introduction about herself.
Okay, thank you so much. Good morning, everyone. It's so lovely to have you here. So my name is Sandra Husiku. I am an ICT business analyst, and I am transitioning my career journey from being a BA to a BIA and soon an EA. And I'm happy to answer all the questions and then tell you about my experience being a BA, why I chose to be a business analyst, what I love the most, why I'm transitioning, and any other questions that you might have. You heard that I'm also a techpreneur, entrepreneur. I do other stuff. Being a BA, I get to analyze different business models. I get to read a lot of tech trends, and it's always interesting when we have these trends that different people come up with. So that's actually my passion. I actually have a tech YouTube that I talk about different tech solutions for Zimbabwe. I'll also put the link there so that you can also go and subscribe and just see what I think about technology solutions in Zimbabwe. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much, Sandra, for that introduction. We are very curious and interested to find out what actually is business analytics, what is business intelligence, and I'm sure our audience is very eager to find what the difference is between a business analyst and a data analyst actually is, because there is a lot of confusion around that. I will ask our next speaker, Mr. Jabulani, to also give us a brief introduction about himself.
Good morning, everyone. As already mentioned earlier, I'm a software engineer by profession and also a big data engineer. I have experience in business intelligence. I've worked in software, accounting, and business advisory consulting in the past. So I have encountered a lot of tools in the space and business problems, as well as worked in this exciting field. So I'll be sharing with you my experience, thoughts, and key pointers of how one can get into this field and maneuver. There's a lot, but one can always choose a certain path.
All right. Thank you so much for that, Jabulani. So our first question of the day will go back to Ms. Sandra Husiku. And what we really do want to understand is, what is a business analyst? When we are talking about business analytics, what is the role of a business analyst in an organization? What skills and qualifications are required for such a role? And are there different types of business analysts, or it's just one title that can describe everything that is within business intelligence? Please give us clarity on that.
Okay, thank you so much for your question. So where do I even start? A business analyst is a bridge between business and technical or a particular type of industry. So I'm going to talk about an ICT business analyst because that's what I am. So a business analyst is the bridge between the business side and the technical side. So what we do basically is just try to understand. So I'm going to explain this with a relatable example probably everyone uses. So let's say I'm a business analyst for WhatsApp. Then someone from WhatsApp, the business, say they want an instant messaging that can be able to send messages to people, right? So a business analyst would then understand, gather requirements, talk to the technical team, and then try to explain every feature that you see on your WhatsApp. So that's your sending messages, your business rules. You can only send 30 messages at a time. If a person reads the message, it's a blue tick. If they don't want, they remove. So basically they have what the business wants, and they model it and then put it into the technical side. So you said, you also asked, are there any types of business analysts? The BA role is evolving. So that's basically the skeleton of it, being the bridge between the business and the technical side. But however, the role of a BA is evolving. And I think I can come up with 5 different types of BA, but then some of them are interlinked into this. So I'm just going to quickly run through the types of business analysts and then move to the skills and qualifications. So when I'm just explaining, then you can possibly pick, okay, which kind of qualification you'd want. So there's the BA, which I love to say the BA guru or the enterprise BA. They are responsible for the requirements that needs to be improved and understanding what needs to be met to improve the business. So they come up with business solution perspective. And with this type of BA, you can then move on to an enterprise architecture, which I said earlier, an AI, or a C-level position, probably on IT director, if you start with that type. Then they are also probably domain aspects. Probably if you just work on a BA, as a BA for fintech, then you can just be a domain expert for maybe core banking systems or payment platforms or something like that. Then there are technical business analysts or business system analysts, which sometimes I work as. So it involves a lot of technical knowledge, which focuses on the technical solution requirements and also support of the development of a particular software product. So you are involved in the development, you understand it, which feature, everything as a BA, understanding everything. Then there is a project business analyst, which now is interchanged to product manager, PMs, as a project business analyst. So it's like developing software products. Probably you can also call it an agile BA, because some projects are, agile based, they're changing user requirements. So that's a project business analyst. And then there's the digital business analyst. So this is like a crossover between the tech and the enterprise. So you're like in the middle, which also I am. And okay, I'm just seeing the questions. Yeah. Sorry. And then, so the digital business analysts, they focus on customer experience requirements and technology requirements. So this is where you build user stories. So this mostly like, I'll use again for WhatsApp. As a user, I would want to be able to send documentation, and then you come up with those structures and send to the technical team. Then there's the proxy product owner, who's the crossover. They do all the roles of the agile BA. They manage the backlog decision, priority of these requirements, and they see the transition of the project from start to finish. So these are the different types of BAs, but the core component is just being the bridge between the business and the technical side. So skills and qualifications then depends on what type of BA you're going to jump into. I've seen a lot of people say you can be in BA without knowledge or whatever. Well, it just depends on how you basically need to do. So as a BA, your main, like I always tell people, I get paid to think and make decisions. So your focus is to think analytically and make decisions. So if you can do it with an engineering degree or an accounting, law, then you can be a BA. However, you need to acquire certain skills and experience in working as a BA, the tools that you use, because you really need to be able to communicate what a business person is saying to a technical person and what a technical person to a business person. So the skills and qualifications, you can do a business information systems, a degree, a diploma. There are also other institutes like IIBA, and certain certification just to understand how you can work around the procedures, how you can manage your requirements, and how you can come up with everything that can be readable to the teams. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. That was a very detailed explanation. I always thought a business analyst was just always one term and there were never different types. But from how you've explained it, we've seen that there's actually different facets for this role. And one thing that you did mention was how a business analyst, or what we now call a business project manager or a project manager, has to oversee everything from system requirements all the way to the rollout of a particular solution. So does that mean that as a business analyst, does an individual also have to know how to program? Do they need any programming knowledge, any extensive programming knowledge of a particular language, of a particular platform to be able to execute their job? Or is it a different skill set that's required altogether?
Okay, so for programming is when you are the technical BA. If you are just the other BA, you do not need any programming skill. However, it's an added advantage because as a BA, there are different types of projects. It can be you are doing a reverse engineering or you're doing an upgrade, or it's a new system altogether, or probably it just depends with the type. So having a technical programming language will be an added advantage. So let's say you want to do a BA, you want to analyze analytics on business trends, and then there is a lot of data included. You then need a little bit of skill of SQL, writing queries, trying to understand which customers of this demographic, like trying to understand the data sides of information. But however, it then depends with the type and nature of the project that you're working on. So obviously, when a company or an organization is looking for a BA or hiring a BA, they will normally put across the kind of skills that you would want. And then with just seeing that, you can definitely know the kind of project that they want you to impact. But yeah, so you don't need to have programming skills, but if you have, then it'll be perfect.
All right. Thank you so much for that clarity, which brings us to how, at the end of the day, there is still a lot of data that a business analyst will be working with. And now this can be very confusing because both business analysts and data analysts work with a lot of data. And with regards to the technical skill set that's needed, it does look like that there is a basic requirement of gathering data and manipulating it, as well as making sure that we get as much useful information as we can from it. So with that being said, would you say there is a difference between a business analyst and a data analyst? Or are those really two different terms just to describe the same person with the same job description?
I think there is a difference, but however, there are components that are similar. So with working with data, it then just depends. Data analysts, they collect data with probably the dev team and analyze the data to identify useful information from it into digestible insights. They have these nice dashboards. They have, trends that they can work with. This is the data analyst. But the BA then, you want to figure out different trends from it. So probably you do the same, but you also want to make sound decisions. So let's just say you want to know how many people are using WhatsApp for maybe iOS or at this time. Then you then use that information to then say, okay, we want to then increase or decrease prices for data bundles, for WhatsApp bundles, basing on this information. However, let's come up with an application that would then, so you're now coming up with solutions that then work with the business model. But for data analysts, they're just presenting these data into insights. And then for the BA, you then now take further those insights into making decisions that can impact a business model for a particular organization, basing on their vision, their scope. If they want to grow, probably they want to increase their sales. So you can then say how you're going to increase the sales with this information. So that's where it then separates the BA and the DA.
All right, thank you very much. That's one way to look at it. And I think one other contribution that probably our audience would be really interested in listening to is maybe the view of Mr. Jabulani Chibaya, who is a data engineer. Because now, since all these things seem to be intersecting, maybe with Mr. Chibaya, he can tell us what is a big data engineer, what do they do, and the difference between a data engineer, a data scientist, a data analyst, and a business analyst. Maybe Mr. Chibaya, we can get your input on this.
Okay, I've been following the explanation by Sandra Osiku, which was simple, precise, and concise and clear. So a big data engineer is an information technology professional who is responsible for designing, building, testing, and maintaining complex data processing systems that work with large data sets. So you can see the distinction here between a big data engineer and a data analyst, in that big data engineers actually build the data lakes, data warehouses, data marts, the databases, and also the data pipelines. Since we now live in a big data world with data which is variety, veracity, and volume, as well as speed, it means that there is need for a professional like a a big data engineer who would make sure that there are pipelines for the structured, semi-structured, and unstructured data to flow from source to a business point of truth, where they extract data for meaning. For data analysts, these are the professionals who mainly work at a top level. They don't go that much deep like a big data engineer. They might be tasked with writing queries on already cleaned data and some other data wrangling and data managing task. They normally help people like from departments like marketing, HR, and accounting or production to answer simple and routine business questions. Whereas big data engineers would be concerned about maybe building a data lake and a data pipeline for a bank, like for fraud detection or risk management. This might involve ad hoc analytics or some big and deeper questions which a data from a database or a data warehouse cannot answer, but would require one to maybe do analysis and answer to a certain deeper question, which might need data from different sources like ATM, point of sale machines, and account data in a core business system or ERP. So big data engineers allow you to collect all this data from different sources, and some of it is fast and some of it is large. So it transforms this data into a format that can easily be analyzed so that a business can answer questions. Then data scientists are professionals who might have deep quantitative backgrounds, mathematical, accounting, computer science, engineering, or related, who then build models with algorithms to help better answer business questions and discover insights, trends, and give business actionable intelligence and analysis. Over to you.
All right, thank you very much. That was a very deep explanation, which really went into the theory and the academic of terms. And we really do appreciate that. And from that already, we can see that there is a need for an individual to have a very strong programming background when they are now pursuing into the field of data engineering and data analyst. So maybe with that already being said, that there's a requirement of a strong programming background, maybe you could let us in on the tools and the platforms which are required for a person to be a data engineer, and maybe which languages are widely used within this specific field, so that if anyone in our audience is looking to become a data engineer within the near future, which tools should they really focus on and which languages are mostly used?
Oh, yeah. Okay. The most fundamental tool is one which people use or interact with every day, but they don't go deep with. It is Microsoft Excel. Excel is a very versatile tool in data analysis, data science, and big data engineering. Excel allows you to store large quantities of data, up to 1 million rows. I'm sure people came across an article during the COVID lockdowns era where it was said that some vaccination app for the National Health Services of UK was using Excel, and a lot of people were laughing that how could a $1 million project use Excel? Because most of us are used to using Excel. Maybe we utilize 2% of its potential. But today I want to give you a secret that with Excel alone, you can be able to do over 50% or so of the work in data analysis and visualization. Excel is one end-to-end tool where one can be able to incorporate programming languages like VBA, C#, Python, and SQL. It can allow you to perform a wide variety of mathematical computations on data, sorting it, and also wrangle it for analysis, or it can allow you to sort and clean your data to be loaded into other advanced big data and data science frameworks. So I would encourage someone who would want to be a data analyst, a data scientist, or a big data engineer to really learn advanced Excel skills, like get books on Excel. You can go on Udemy or Coursera or other online platform where you can learn courses in Excel. A lot of it can actually make sense if one does some self-learning or YouTube reading and actually getting your hands dirty. Excel is very good and useful, and so it will be one of the starting point tools that one needs to master. Then we have SQL, structured query language. This is the language that would allow you to manipulate data and also to query data from different data sources, databases, and Excel is a greater advantage tool and SQL is a greater advantage tool like Excel, where it can allow you to work on big data frameworks like Apache Spark, which is one of the leading big data science and data analysis framework in the marketing. So if you are proficient in SQL, you can write queries, or you can actually write statements that can do big data analysis for you in Hadoop and Apache Spark, which are two of the frameworks used by large firms, startups, telecoms, banking institutions, and many other big and small to medium firms out there. So as I've said, we have Excel, we have SQL, then we also have a programming language for statistical analysis called R. R might be a bit hard in learning it at first, unlike SQL. But if one invests their time, it can allow them to also use it for big data, for data engineering, for data science and data analysis. And it comes handy where statistical analysis is needed. Then we also have Python. Python is one of the simple and easiest languages to learn and pick up, since it's mostly like English. Its statement, it doesn't have curly braces like other languages like C or C++. So for beginners, it's cool and simple. Python works both in data science and big data engineering, and it also has many APIs used in big data frameworks like Apache Hadoop, Apache Spark, Torch, and other machine learning and related frameworks that one would encounter along the way. So it is important to master these basic tools and languages, which are Excel, SQL, R, and Python. Over to you.
All right. Thank you very much. That was really well detailed. And where can one person find such resources as they pursue their journey? What resources would you recommend? Or would you direct everybody to YouTube University? Or are there any free resources that you know that maybe we can recommend for individuals trying to pursue this career path?
All right. I have seen there are free courses on edX, on Coursera, on Udemy, and also on YouTube. If you have some brief to the career path that you have decided, you can just follow up the tutorials there or the recommendations from some professionals who post on YouTube. You can also follow influencers on LinkedIn to always get a clear picture and overview of the field. I would encourage those without IT or computer science background to first go through the Harvard CS 500 computer science course, which would equip them with hardware, software, and some coding skills, which would be handy when they would want to use the programming language to do data science or big data engineering. So I guess it's always good for someone without a strong IT, mathematics, or computer science background to really invest in a lot of self-learning. Like if you want to know Excel, you can install it on your laptop. Go on Kaggle. On Kaggle, there are a lot of competitions where one can actually learn and pick up a lot of skills. It's also like Zindi, as you have said in the past. Yeah, I was going all around, but I was forgetting that Zindi is one platform where a person can get these skills and more from hackathons or from going through the trove of data exercises and other things posted there. So for someone who is not sure yet, I would advise them to do some brief research on the job descriptions, because the easiest way to understand what's needed to be a data analyst, big data engineer, or data scientist is to first Google job descriptions of that job from Indeed, Glassdoor, or any job site out there. For example, if you go to Glassdoor, you will see that most data engineer jobs, they will list SQL as a required skill. They will list AWS, Azure. They will also list many other tools which I've stated in the past, like Python, R, Excel, Hadoop, Spark, Apache Kafka, which is used in streaming. So the best way to become someone and to be on the right path is to see interviews on LinkedIn or YouTube. Number two is to Google at least 2 or 3 job descriptions of the role that one would want to pursue. And it would be ideal to Google or data engineer job descriptions of roles in at least 2 industries. Maybe you can go on Indeed and Google data engineer in insurance, or a data engineer in telecoms, or a data engineer in a media company. So you would see that the responsibilities and qualifications listed there would then point you to what you'd want to know. And for some people, you can actually see that you might have 3/4 or half of the skills listed there, and maybe you would want to brush up on the frameworks which I've stated, like Hadoop, Spark, and Kafka, and on programming languages like SQL, R, and Python, and on databases like NoSQL, like MongoDB, Postgres, Cassandra, or data pipeline workflow management tools like Luigi, Apache Airflow, and Azkaban. And also it's ideal to have experience in cloud computing, since most companies now host their data and systems in the cloud, like on AWS, Azure, and Google. So the easiest and simplest way, in short, is be informed by the companies which are hiring, because those are the tools they are using in industry. Those are the skills they need, and that's what they expect. So that's my 2 cents.
Thank you so much, Jabulani. And, as you were talking about searching the job description, the roles, and the experience that a person is needed, it really got me thinking about for an individual who's trying to get into the fields that we're talking about today, be it data engineering or business analyst. There is a lot of focus on the background that is required of that person, of the experience and the skill set that they need to bring into the job. And it really got me wondering. And I mean, for this one, I'll go back to Sandra Usiku to tell us more about the journey into business analytics. I know a lot of times now, a lot of people are doing a lot of online learning, and other people do take the formal education route. So for Ms. Usiku, maybe could you tell us a bit more about your journey into business analytics and business intelligence? Did you take the formal route? Did you take the formal education route into your role, or are you self-taught? Did you do online courses? Maybe if we learn more about your journey, our audience today may be a bit more guided on how to get into business analytics.
Okay, thank you so much. Okay, so my journey as a BA, it's quite funny, but I did study. I have an IT background. So I have a bachelor's in business information systems. So obviously I was going to do something business related, information related. And I then furthered my education. I have a master's in IT management. So I have always wanted to be an IT manager. I kind of feel like personally, I'm a very organized person. And I always think that's what I want. I want to manage certain things, projects, people, and IT department. But unfortunately, my first job that I went, I would work with Asians, Japanese, Pakistanians, Indians, and we were developing a system for ticketing. So that platform was very, very, it was stressful, and we'll be given, it was on task-based. So me being a Zim girl from Mutare, working with Asians who have, learned coding from crash whilst we were doing A, B, C, D, of course I couldn't catch up with everything. But then I kind of put myself into the BA role, because I then would want to know a lot of things that were happening. So since it was a ticketing platform for the stadium, for movies, it was used in so many platforms, but then there was no sort of documentation or sort of process that would then use. These people were okay with any problem. Okay, client walks in, they want this, they can code in 2 minutes, and then they give the client the process. But I didn't like that way of working. So I figured, okay, let me just document what we can reuse for this particular person. And I kind of organized myself. And then I ended up finding myself in a BA role. So I then, because of that knowledge, and it was my first experience, I then moved to a different position. I was a business development manager, but also I could figure the gap between the business development manager and the technical team. So I also assumed that role. And with time, I then realized with the BA role, you might have the background, but it contributes, 20% of it contributes to how organized you are. How fast can you think? Because you have to have a critical thinking as a soft skill. You need to be able to understand that. So I did take the formal route. I wasn't self-taught. I then take a lot of courses here and there just to supplement, trying to understand technical skills. But yeah, that was my route. I could have been an IT manager or somewhere else, but I think my journey in the career path kind of put me into that position, and I mastered that skill. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much, Sandra. Seeing as you then decided to venture and become a business analyst out of all the other options that were right in front of you, I think a question that I'm really curious about is the growth for a business analyst for you to decide to take such a pivot into your career? And what does growth look like for a business analyst? And is it really a viable career in Zimbabwe, or is it now a career field which has a lot of people flocking into it?
Okay, thank you for that question. What I've understood is most people probably do not understand what a business analyst do. So because it involves a lot of documentation, people just think you can just write it down and send it to me. So, but then that's also a role of an IT administrator. They can document anything. So the growth in Zimbabwe, because a lot of companies are digitalizing, a lot of companies are trying to come up with their own platforms. We have different rules, we have regulations that come up with different things. Our products, we can't just get a product from India and use it here. There are certain things that we need to configure, like a core banking system. Someone can just wake up and say, okay, with immediate effect, we have to do this. We have to have a place where we can customize things that work with the business. So business is moving. As a business analyst, there is so much you can do. You can move from being a business analyst to product management, which is what I started off as an ICT business analyst. I went to product management, but I was taking up both roles. That's a whole different ball game together. You can move from that to an enterprise architecture. You can move from enterprise architecture. You can go to business intelligence analyst. Like I said earlier, I'm transitioning my process. I'm going to BIA. So there is so much you can do as a business analyst. The problem is people then do not understand fully what a business analyst does, because they feel like, oh, I have an idea. I think I can cut it up. I think I can do this. They really don't understand the work that a BA does. And once people start embracing that position, everything else, you will not find applications that launch and you think, oh, this is a nice thing. And then 3 months down the line, it doesn't meet some certain regulations, it's closed up. And you'll be thinking, where's the BA? Like I always tell myself, what happened to the BA of this? What were they thinking? Why did they put this feature? Because there's certain things that I see and I'm thinking, oh my God. But people try to overlook the BA. So what I can put as a BA is in terms when people can understand, it's like a person who, like maybe you, Cheryl, you want to, and then you don't then have a plan. Then you just tell the builder, can you build the house? And then that person, the designer, the architect is the one who's supposed to say, no, the sun comes here at the west side of Harare, so maybe your sunroof should be this side. So if you then cut off that and you just buy a off-the-shelf plan, that is what then with your product, with your house. So it has so much potential, the BA role, and a lot of companies are starting to come up with all this, but then they just need to fully utilize the BA role in an organization. Thank you. Okay, so I'm going to just answer a question on the chat where they say opportunities in Zimbabwe for business analysts the same as opportunities outside the country. Definitely, they are not the same. They are not the same. As well as all the jobs really in the technology space in Zimbabwe. You find in Australia, in Canada, in South Africa, a business analyst is under a critical skill. So that skill is actually a very critical skill. Whilst here it's like maybe the tech team or the dev team are stuck, nothing is understandable. There's no documentation, so they just want a BA to, do some documentation for it. So it's different, but then it also depends on the type of organization you're working for. Thank you.
All right. And as we're getting ready to switch over to Mr. Jabulani Chibaya, you did mention critical skills. So what would you say are the critical skills that you have learned so far? and maybe where can one person get to learn this particular skills if, for instance, they haven't landed the business analyst role that they are looking for?
Okay, so let me just put it like this. As a BA, there are skills that you need to learn, and then there are skills that you just need to like automatically understand. You need to quickly make decision making. You cannot learn how to make decisions, but then probably you need to have a certain type of tools that can help you understand in your decision making. So I'll start with probably the hard skills that you might need. So obviously there is analysis, data analysis, the Excel that Mr. Jabulani was talking about. Documentation, obviously you need to be able to present whatever that you're saying to your customer. Okay, so we're going to come up with this feature. You need to be able to make a presentation on that with a PowerPoint or a slides deck, what everyone is calling them nowadays. Then you need to have computer and software fluency. At least you can download the application or navigate around it without needing help. Then most of it is more on research. So there's critical thinking, problem solving, obviously, attention to detail, communication, and teamwork. Because as a BA, you never work alone. There's a stakeholder, there's someone putting money into it. There's a business, there's someone wanting to make business out of your solution. There's a tech team, there are people with ideas, there are customers who will be like, no, why is this? There are regulations. So you need to be able to be accommodating everything in your decision making. So as a BA, you need to then learn certain techniques into doing this. So it comes up with your JAD sessions, how to do use cases, how to do brainstorming sessions, how to prototype, storyboard, root cause analysis. There's so many techniques you can learn. And then the good thing is there are so many courses you can do. I think Mr. Jabulani spoke about Coursera, spoke about Udemy. I use those. I always go on YouTube as well. Just try to understand what other tools are there. There's so many open source and paid versions online that you can use as well. So it just depends what tool or what exactly you need to do in managing your requirement and putting it in a way that whatever and whoever the stakeholder would want to know would understand exactly what you're trying to say. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much. And I mean, at this point, I will cross over to Mr. Jabulani Chibaya because Sandra has just given us an insight of the kind of skills that will be required and just given us a set of examples on where those skills could be applicable. And for me now, I'm curious with Mr. Chibaya. Could you please give us maybe examples of big data projects or projects that you have worked on, or projects that our listeners can follow through to understand, okay, this is the job process that a big data engineer goes through when they are working on a specific project?
Yeah. Okay. So for big data engineering, it's sort of like a back-end process where you don't normally see as such the type of deliverable one is building, because it will be building data lakes and reservoir for other people like analysts, data scientists, and other people to work on. So I can take you through the process of what goes on.
Yes, please go ahead.
So you have a customer or a client requiring something like a data lake. A data lake is more advanced, like the database people are used to, where data is just stored in tables and rows. A data lake or a lakehouse would involve all types of data. Like, you get the idea of you going to the lake. You can do skiing, you can do fishing, you can do speed boating, you can catch fish, crocodiles, and a lot of things there. So the process would involve installing one or more of the applications a client or a company would need. Let's say it's an insurance company which would want to collect data from sensors on trackers on cars in the field. Let's say there's an insurance company which would want to know where their customers' cars, which they insured with them, are, and stuff like that. So the cars would have some sensors, and the manager or the call center people would have a dashboard where they would see the location on a Google map or on a certain location. So a data engineer would then build a server or would then install something like Apache Spark or Kafka, which would then collect data from those sensors, collate it into tables and rows, and then feed this data either real-time, batch, or as and when needed to a dashboard, which a salesperson would just see that this person has insured their car for like 60-kilometer radius, and they are now driving to Blawayo. The system can send an automated text or a beep to inform them that they are no longer under their insurance cover. So basically it would involve a lot of configurations of tools, either on the cloud, like on AWS, where you can set up your big data tools, through Amazon Kinesis for data streaming, or Amazon Redshift for SQL querying, and on Google there is Google BigQuery. Or if it's open, if it's totally open source, I would then choose a framework suitable for the role, like Spark or Kafka, run an instance of it, connect it to the business systems, write code which would be the business rules for that organization depending on their needs. Then finally, as Sandra was saying, the most important part is the visualization or storytelling. So big data, data science, data analysis, or business analysis is not complete until the user gets actionable insights, actionable intelligence, or they get something which they can view and understand without having to go through paragraphs of reading or jargon or what. So just like any field or stuff, it's only complete when the customer or end user is satisfied and their needs are met. Thank you.
Thank you very, very much for that clarification. And as we're about to conclude our session today, I am pretty sure that our audience is curious as they are trying to get started into this journey. So maybe I'll start with you, Mr. Jabulani. What advice would you give anyone who is trying to start a career in big data, or to start a career as a data scientist or a data analyst?
Okay. I would encourage them to invest a lot of time in learning about data literacy. Data literacy, before you go into any of the technical skills we have mentioned here, is very important and key, because as much as the field can be technical or confusing or what, the end goal is to make sure that you answer to business questions, and business people don't care about the complexity of the tool that you use. So sometimes you don't need to be learning hard stuff just to do the job. Sometimes 80% of your job might require SQL or Excel. So it's not about having to do complex things, but it's about answering business questions and solving problems in an efficient way. So I encourage everyone to go and see a TED talk on data literacy. I'm forgetting the name of of the person who did it, but he was a data literacy chief at Click, the business intelligence company. I will remember the name and post it on the chat. I would also encourage them to invest a lot of time in data cleaning, wrangling, and managing. Data cleaning is actually 80% of data science. All the other things like writing algorithms or writing code and stuff is actually like 10 to 20% of what goes in the job. Because for a model to be built or for certain complex tasks to be done, the first thing that is needed is data collection, data cleaning, data wrangling, and data sorting. So one would see that the top 3 key skills in business intelligence or data science are actually easy but boring. But if you invest a lot of time in mastering them, you end up at a stage where you automate those repetitive and boring tasks, and you'd see that you are actually a professional and a sought after individual in the field. And another thing is, for opportunities, don't be limited to Zimbabwe. Technology has connected us globally through the internet. If you prepare yourself well, you will find yourself being headhunted by companies in Asia, in Australia, in Europe, in America to work remote. And there are jobs for all skill levels, from beginner to advanced. So one should not be deterred by the local market that there isn't enough jobs in Zimbabwe for data science, for example, or a big data, but just know that you are preparing yourself for the world. So make sure that you also start to contribute to open source frameworks. That is, the more you contribute to open source, the more you learn about data science or big data. The more you improve or give feedback about the tools that you'll be trying to use or using, the more you become an expert. So I've just seen someone is typed the name of the person who did the TED Talk on data literacy. It's Jordan Morrow. He also has written a good book on data literacy and to understand the other key things in this field, which is also called data literacy, the skill that everyone needs to learn. People can also look for the book on online sites where it's sold. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much for that. The key is repetition, continuous working, using those skills to make sure you master a particular concept and a particular process. It may be boring, but the key is to make sure that you've mastered it. And I will pose the same question to Ms. Sandra Usiku. What advice would you give somebody who is trying to get into the business analyst field and is trying to be a business analyst?
Okay, thank you for that question. I liked what Jabulani said, that in business, you need to be able to be answering business questions and providing solutions. And to be honest with you, advice I'll give you, the business is very brutal. They don't care. They want to make money. So what I can advise anyone who wants to take up a BA role is to say, first of all, you need to research. If you see any company or whatever or software system that you might be interested in, you need to take time to research about it. Try to find out certain things that they have come up with, even if it has failed, and why it's not failing, why it's performing well. Try to understand certain things. This would then help you in prioritizing features that you might want to put up together for a platform. So you don't have to have a feature for this app and a feature for this app, and then you just think you have the cutest app, because at the end of the day, you then understand why this application doesn't have that feature and that application doesn't have that feature. Then secondly, you need to be at a position where you can give business insights. So where have you started and where are you going? You cannot just have a platform that you have to develop until it's perfect. So you can learn on MVP. What do you want to do? So I'll go back to the WhatsApp example. WhatsApp knew they wanted to do instant messaging. They started with that. Then they started putting video call, voice call, document. Now they're doing status. Now they're going to do screen record. Maybe when you're sharing, I'm just saying futuristic. But then the core is to send messages instantly. So build onto that. If it's viable, start with that and then complete. Learn to let go. If things are not working out, learn to let go. But always research, and also TED Talks, try to read books. And then if you find something that you see, just try to think of it as a business analyst. Like when you're facing a problem, like me, I always do it when I'm ordering pizza and I'm thinking, what could I have done? So try to visualize any little problem you face and try to come up with a solution that can help you, jog your brain when you are faced with difficult situations. Then as a BA, you are bound to a lot of burnouts because your job is to think. So you have burnouts. Try to take breaks. Try to figure out which times are okay for you, for your mind. Put up a mood board that brings up your productivity. You need to be productive at any given point. Businesses don't care that you are not thinking straight or this feature, because you need to be able to be accountable for everything. So try to do certain things, work out, eat healthy, have friends that talk about, nice things, add people on LinkedIn that talk about, don't be clouded into, because it then comes off when you are explaining this to a stakeholder. You need to be sounding like you know exactly what they want. So you need to have that lingo when you talk to them. You need to have knowledge and you need to have insights into it. So always try to put yourself in a position where you know exactly what you want to do, what you want to say. You have it. They have to understand what you're saying without you trying to put it together. And, so that's what I can give advice on someone who wants to do a BA role. It's a very fun, interesting role when there are a lot of fun projects. I love bigger projects. I like small projects. So that's all I can say for me. Thank you.
All right. Thank you so much for that. And I hope our audience was listening into that. The key is to always take part in projects, always exercise the skills that you're learning using projects. These may even be simple projects on the internet that may have been done before, and you're replicating the same project, but the goal is to continuously keep learning and using those skills that you have gained. And this brings us to the conclusion of our meeting today. And we hope that as Zindi Africa, you have managed to walk away with some bit of guidance as you start to learn your journey. Our speakers today did mention a lot of tools that are required to be understood as you're trying to get into the field of business analytics as well as data engineering. I do hope that we were taking a lot of notes, and please connect with our speakers. Their links to their LinkedIn profiles have been put onto the chat box. So just follow their profiles, as Jabulani and Sandra did highlight earlier. Is if you're trying to get into a specific field, it is always great to look up the people who are already in those fields and see what they're getting up to, see the skills that they have learned and the skills that they keep acquiring over time. So do follow Miss Sandra Usiku on her LinkedIn, which has been pasted there, and Mr. Jabulani Chibaya on their LinkedIn as well. And I mean, just another note from Mr. Jabulani Chibaya is to always read books and watch YouTube videos on the problems that you face on your journey. Find a mentor. And I'm pretty sure if you follow our speakers today, you'll find a lot of valuable information on their LinkedIn pages and what they do, as well as the YouTube channels that they have. So thank you so much, everyone, for joining in. Our video recording will be sent to the individuals who have registered. We'll be sending this through your email. And do follow Zindi Africa on LinkedIn, on Twitter, and on Facebook. And we hope that this has been instrumental into your journey into data science. Thank you so much, everyone.